10 months. That's how long it's been since the last recording. I don't know what I am even doing right now, but I guess it's finally time for me to make something that I've been planning on making for a very long time, and that is a tier list for Dungeons and Heroes. There is nothing like that online anywhere, and it might be a very difficult thing for people to even get into Heroes. And also the reason it is so hard to make a tier list is because this game is nothing like any other hero building game, because it can take you over 6 months to just build one hero. But anyway, we can just start and get on with it, because this will probably be a very long video, as I will be having to talk about every single hero. And in order to make this a bit shorter, I'm going to be talking about Aggie heroes today. And these are the agility heroes that is currently in the game. There are int and there is strength. Today we'll be talking about Aggie, and we'll be going over the tier list for them as well. And before we do that, I need to talk about the tier list too, show you the different tiers that we have here. Okay, so here is the different tiers that I've made. I might need to make something more about this later. I have not tried this anything at all. This is completely unscripted, and I will just be going into it. The top tier, that is for Joan, because Joan is pretty much just the best hero in the game. We can already just put her up there. Instant pick. This tier is just locked down. She has the 45% on everything on the primary attribute in speed and 30% damage reduction. She's absolutely broken in every single game mode that she is actually in. She's pretty much the best in slot everywhere. She's a complete game changer in no matter what you do, and she works just as well at 5-star when you just unlock her as she does at 11-star when she gets the physical damage reduction talent. Pretty much one of the best heroes in the entire game. She is the best one. Okay, well, going over the tiers. These are the best heroes that you have access to. You need them to perform pretty well in the end game. These are just heroes that we'll be talking about later. They completely change the meta. They completely change everything with how they do things. And if you have them built, you can do things that you normally would not be able to do. And game required is just the top heroes that is pretty much the best in slot everywhere you can use them, or so absurdly good in one game mode that it just puts them there anyway. Capstone required. Basically, we need to talking about capstones as well, but we can talk about that later. Capstones is basically the 13-star talents. These are pretty much the same tiers, except that these don't need the capstone to work properly, such as Joan. She doesn't need the capstone to work properly, but she is up here anyway. Heroes such as Sugliang, he's good without capstone, but he's broken at top 5 best heroes in the entire game with the capstone. These are basically the A tier. And these are basically the same rank here, except that these are just requiring to have the capstone. Niche, heroes that are best in slot in certain comps, but really does not have any good use at all outside of those. A great example for this is, where is she? This is just for me explaining the tier list right now. A great example is, I have no idea where she is. Where are you? There are 105 different heroes in the game, if you didn't know. Where the hell is... There she is. Catherine. You might be wondering why I'm putting her so low. The reason is the fact that Catherine is absolutely insane in Statue of Heroes because enemies have no resistance. Put Catherine in a team against Fiend Slayers. Per active, you might get one stun off. and the damage bonuses that she provides, other heroes can do the same thing while doing way better in the team. She is pretty tanky, yes, but you want to use her at the low star until you have your account really big, really well set. In Into Ruins of Miracles, why would you use her? You already have a 5-man team. And anyway, yeah, she is incredibly good in one game mode, but fuck her in any place other than Statue of Heroes. If you're using her any other place, it is such a niche thing, like something to do with a dumbass boss that I saw one time against the Fiendslayer's 4 boss. But like, why would you even use her? And even then, it's just niche. It would just put here. Ruins are heroes that you can't really use anywhere else. Such as, for example, let's talk about strength. Rock Giant, he's great in strength runes. Rock Giant, he's great in strength runes. At least as an early mid-game player. Where else would you ever use him? The same thing with Berserker after you finish of 13 star Sugliang. Berserker has no use anywhere. He doesn't even have any use in the ruins normally either anyway. But he is pretty good in the Ruins of Miracles against bosses because of the slow. But like, where can they else use him? I don't know if he is a good example, but I will be figuring out these later as I haven't planned anything. Bonds. These are heroes that just have some incredible bonds. We'll be going into the game right now. And look at the bonds because there are some really good bonds here. Like, let's look at this one. This one gives MDE. This one gives a strength to Mathos, which is one of the best heroes in the game. If you have Zeus built up, you get... no, it is this one. You get 6% skill crit damage on Mathos. That is pretty good. And let's go with this one. This one gives skill crit damage, which is just shield value on Sugliang. We have this one for Break. This gives skill crit chance. More and more skill crit chance for Break. Then you have this one. This one gives max HP for Joan, which is pretty nice actually, because you want to have her tanking. This one is pretty shit. This one gives primary attribute, which is if you have him up to 15 star and you're using Singiffen, have a skin on him and he gets up to the highest int in the team. This is a straight up damage bonus to Singiffen as a strength for Dragon as a whole. This one gives int to Zugliang, which just means that Singiffen is even better. So yeah, that's something that you need to consider. So the heroes that are there can be pretty good as well. Let's open up this one again. Pinnacle Stars, these are heroes that is just have no real use whatsoever in the game, and you can't really use them anywhere. And the only reason that you are actually building them is to get Pinnacle Tower stars, but you're not leveling them up. Unsure, I have no idea where to place these heroes. I have never seen them used properly at all, so I can't really rank them properly anyway, because I have no way to actually do so fairly. Okay, so let's just start going into this one right now. We'll be going for normal heroes first. And this is the list of heroes that we can go for. Let's just start with the normal heroes, and we can start off with Wolf. We can start off strong. Let's go into the game. Okay, so now we can go into Wolf and find him here. Let me find Wolf. Here he is. He is basically in the capstone required because he needs to have this capstone right here. Craze, it gives him 20% physical defense ignored, which with the help of Luo will get him up to 100% XDE, which is required in order to do a significant amount of damage. That basically just removes any defense from the opponent, and you can just do as much damage as humanly possible. It is incredibly strong against high defense monsters, and even if they don't have an insane amount of defense, it's just an insane damage bonus that he can get anywhere he goes. And his this one just increases his attack, which means that he does more normal attack damage. This one heals him. This one just does some more damage and applies bleeding. This is the one that accelerates him or gives him the defense ignored. And he also does a lot of self-healing. He does an insane amount of damage, but he has the problem where he is only able to attack one enemy, and that is his normal attack target, which in some situations is really annoying when the entire front line has immunity, such as Auric or the Swordsman, and that can be really annoying, or even if the enemy has Bishop, so that he can't really use his skills properly. That is a problem that Wolf has, but his damage has been great for ever since he started, ever since he was released. He's been a great and solid hero, and considering the fact that he's a normal hero, and you can have him completely for free without spending any Jade, I am going to be putting Wolf. I'm going to be putting Wolf into Capstone Required. He's not quite the S tier because he has some glaring issues that these heroes don't really have, but he needs to have this capstone, and he could be in any of these, but the capstone is really, really required in order to have him be strong in where he needs to be. Next up, we have Nightblade, and this is a pretty interesting topic because Nightblade is quite a tricky hero to rank because in 99% of the game he's completely useless. He has no HP even though he's incredibly fast. He has no real damage output. His capstone is just shit, and his damage is also just shit. It is really annoying with the darts, and his trap can be pretty useful, but he is just from a battle skill. The fixed damage is just abysmal. He's great early game, but this one is the problem. This one just changes his normal attack target to whatever he wants to do, and that is really annoying. Because the only place where Nightblade has a use, you need to have him below level 30, and that one use is Statue of Heroes, where he can completely silence lock with this one. He can apply silence for 3 seconds. He can completely silence lock the back 2 heroes. Then you can have Medusa silence lock the front 3 and have a tank in the middle. And you can pretty much just have no issues for any week. However, he's incredibly inconsistent. He has no real energy gain. He doesn't get any energy gain from Pinnacle Tower. And even though he is pretty quick, he is still pretty inconsistent, and he's really annoying to use. But he may sometimes get you an extra couple floors for Pinnacle Tower, now for Statue of Heroes, which can be nice if you are pushing and you are going really hard for going to maximize your amount of rewards every single week from Statue of Heroes. However, that one tiny, really inconsistent use. I love this hero because I was one of the first people to really use him properly in Statue of Heroes and show him off. I want to put him in the niche, but I can't really do that because he's so inconsistent. And unlike Catherine, who is basically best in slot in most weeks, I have to put him in Pinnacle Stars because he's so damn inconsistent. And in most cases, you just want to be using Dryad instead because Dryad festers them, which means that they can't use normal attacks. And when you get too high into Statue of Heroes, normal attacks will kill your middle tank anyway. So yeah, I have to put him here, even though I like this hero and would have liked to put him in niche. I have to put him in pinnacle stars. Okay, but let's moving on to the next normal hero, and that is Bat Warrior. I love Bat Warrior. Let me just jump over. I love Bat Warrior. Bat Warrior is a great hero. The capstone is kind of mid. I don't. It sounds really good on paper, but it doesn't really do anything properly in a proper fight. It's just kind of annoying, and it doesn't really help you a lot. It's not as much healing as you think it would give the allies. But the normal one, after she casts her active skill, this is really good on her. Basically, what she does, she can reduce the defenses of the front line. She has a lot of bleed that she can apply, which works pretty well together with Wolf, as you're pretty much always going to have the capstone effect on Wolf active at all times. She can also stun the target that she yeah, it's not a long stun, but it is a stun and it can be helpful. It doesn't really do a lot of damage, but yeah, she is pretty good. But the main reason for using Bat Warrior is just how incredibly hard she is to kill. The lower HP that Bat Warrior has, the more dodge she has. So if she has 50% HP, that's 25% dodge, and then you add in Agi Pinnacle Tower, and you have an incredibly tanky hero, which is really, really good, because she can be the lowest HP target for Ruins of Miracles Agi bosses, so that, for example, Headhunter or Harpy Queen will be targeting her, which is just exactly what you want, because she is pretty much immune to that damage, because she can just dodge it. She is incredibly good in certain situations. The capstone is kind of shit, but her only main real use is in Agi Runes of Miracles. She can also be used in Agi Runes in the 110 area. She's a great middle tank for that. And having tier 3 Vit is really good because this one, the lower HP she has, the more dodge she has. But if she has a low base HP, she will just get one shot from the start. So you want to have as much HP on her as possible, same as with Ryan. Because the lower HP percentage she has, the more the tankier she will become. Pretty much the same as Ryan. But you don't want her to get one shot from full HP, so yeah, you want to be using tier 3 Wit on her. And I love her skin, it's pretty cool. This avatar frame, not to the skin right here. So let us move over to the video capture once again. If I can find it, yeah. And here we have Bat Warrior. I have to be putting her into the Ruins tab, because she has no real use anywhere outside of that. He can be used a lot of places. He's great in the early and mid game because he can be your main damage dealer. Even at lower stars, just an 8-star wolf can solo pretty much all the damage needed for Cryo Ape, which is the level 100 boss. And later on, it just gets better and better when you get him tier 3 star, not tier 3 Agi gear. And then you move on later with Pinnacle Tower. It just gets better and better, and it will be taking you a long time to pass him as your best Agi damage dealer when you get Frankin or someone else up to 13 stars. Wolf needs to be here, and Bat Warrior needs to be here. I'm not going to be putting her lower because she is really good in runes. Now let us move over to a hero that I absolutely love, who I am going to praise even though some people hate him, but just how good he actually is. I need to be putting him where I'm going to be putting him, and that is Azura Warrior. Let's move over to the game. Azura Warrior, he is right here. His damage output with the active skill, it's kind of mid. It doesn't really matter. His capstone, it's kind of mid. It doesn't really matter. Because getting him some more attack bonus, yeah, whatever, it doesn't really matter. The physical defense ignored, cool, yeah, that's fine. This one, more attack, more the speed is pretty good. But all of this, it does not really matter. because the only thing that really matters, well, this one is pretty good as well. For 12 seconds, all allies' attack is increased by 17.9%. This is solid as a support hero for Franken or Lita, because they need as much attack as possible in order to perform well in the ruins or anywhere place that you need to be using them. He's a great buffer for Franken in order to make Franken do as much damage as possible. He's great for Elita. He's great for a lot of heroes, even great for Bing. He's a great solid hero with allies doing a lot of damage as early as possible in a fight, which is what you actually want. 17.9%, that is a pretty solid attack bonus. And really, really good in Fiend Slayers for the Agi Ruins. But this one is the thing that matters. Hellfire Lotus absolutely destroys bosses in Agi Ruins. He can have 50% defense ignored. He doesn't even need any defense ignored. Go against defensive posture. Cryo-Ape. No, probably not Cryo-Ape. That was terrible. Any other boss than Cryo-Ape, because for Cryo-Ape, any boss in Ruins of Miracles, go as high as you possibly want. It doesn't matter. This damage is so absolutely insane that you can just annihilate anything. I know that it is fixed damage, so it doesn't care about how much attack or how much anything he has. It is all based on how much agility you can give him. You want this number to be as high as possible, which comes from gear, Agi gems, and then you can just also add the skin, I think. Yeah, this one is pretty good. 8% Agi. And of course, the Agi one. He's way it's a way bigger increase to his damage to get Agi than it is to get the capstone. I'm sure he can do pretty solid damage as well if you got him properly built, properly 15 star, tier 3 Agi, high stars, and then you can start going on for a very long fight to get the Might of Azura to get as high as possible. But you don't really need that, because you can work at lower stars. You just need to have the Hellfire Lotus. You can see from Athena just how much of the damage that the Retribution does. That's basically like half the damage that she does in an entire boss fight. And she does a lot of boss damage, which is also why she does absolutely no damage at all against Flame Dragon, because Flame Dragon has no energy. Hellfire Lotus, absolutely nutty damage. You can have him as a lower stars for early and mid game, and he will pretty much solo the damage needed up to 60 Agiron. You just need to have your team stay alive. Support heroes and just tanking and just trying to survive as much as possible. Then you don't even need a damage dealer. Hellfire Lotus will just carry completely the boss. I love Asura Warrior. I am never going to roast this hero because he's just that good. Hellfire Lotus, one of the most broken abilities of an Agi hero that we have when it comes to normal hero. One of the most broken normal heroes in the game. I love Asura Warrior, and I'm going to be putting him into the A tier right here. Great without the capstone. I'm not going to be swayed. He is solidly in this tier, and I don't really care what anyone thinks. This is my tier list right now. Asura Warrior is going into the A tier. Now, next up, we have Dead Swordsman. Now, this is an interesting thing, because Dead Swordsman is incredibly good at two places. And that is Goblin Mage in Statue of Heroes, and there's another one that I completely forgot the name of that also does pretty much the same thing. I completely forgot the name of them right now, but he is pretty useful in some places. He can be used a lot in the early game, because you just need someone to survive as your cave tank, and then you can just nuke the wave with something like Anno Break, or just wait for Athena to get her shields up. He's solid for that, but he's very specific. He is the kind of hero that has basically no damage output, is basically no survivability output, except for the undead, and it can only really trigger once every single fight. However, you can do something pretty funny, and that is to run him together with Momochi, which is a pretty funny thing because then he has the survivability aspect that he has, going immune, and then Momo has the aspect to make someone else immune. Then you just have two immune heroes in your team, and that can be pretty good. And he's also the lowest HP in your fight, so that enemies such as Elite, I'm pretty sure it is, fixed damage to the enemy with the lowest HP, so he will pretty much always be the cheese hero if you decide on using him. However, I still think that in a lot of cases there are better options, but he will always be your lowest HP, which is also why you don't want him ever to be using tier 3 wit. So yeah, he is definitely a hero that I will be putting in niche, but he has some really good use cases. Overall, his damage is really bad, and the undead one, this one doesn't really matter either because he doesn't really do any damage at all, and having 300% damage on not really any damage at all doesn't really matter. But he is overall a pretty good hero in the early and mid game. He has some use cases in the late game, but they're pretty mid overall. I will be putting him into niche. I should be putting him lower, but I can't really do that because he is incredible. Because he's basically best in slot in certain things, such as Statue of Heroes, tanking Goblin Mage. Now there is one other one, but I completely forgot what that is, so it will just be putting him into niche, and we have to do that. The next one we don't really even need to talk long about, but we will be talking about her anyway, and because you already know that is a her. I forgot that she's even physical. Don't like this hero at all. She's such a nuisance to attack and to deal with in the game because she deals a lot of fixed damage. She's annihilating your heroes. She's really annoying for my Thanatos, for example. I just don't like this hero at all. I just really don't like this hero, and her damage is kind of mid too. I just build her up as much as possible, and you like won't see any real use at all. I really don't like this hero. She's such an annoying hero. I just don't like this hero at all. I don't even know that she's having any use cases. I've never seen her once except for a noob that used her as his main damage dealer because he thought he was hot, because he thought she was hot. Yeah, well, we'll not be talking about that right now. Whatever he thinks, he can have his own opinion about. Anyway, I don't like this hero at all. I just don't find her fun. I don't find her kit interesting. I don't find her damage good. She has like 10,000 here. Ooh, that's really good. It's against 3 enemies. Yeah, that sounds good, but she has no real damage bonuses, and her Ag is shit. She has no defense ignored, and her just yeah, yeah, I don't really like her, and she's really just camping on fixed damage. Just no, I don't like this hero at all. So I will be putting Gunner in I hate this. I don't care. I just don't like Gunner. She's one of the heroes that I just don't like, and I would not care at all if she was just deleted, removed from the game. No, I don't care. Fuck this hero, man. I just no. I don't care. Honestly, man, I don't care about this dumb hero. No, I don't care. Stain, I hate this. Perfect slot for Gunner. I don't really matter. Doesn't really matter, but Gunner can stay here. I'll be safe right there. Next up, we have Prince of Persia. Now, this is a very difficult thing to do because the meta has shifted so much. Let me go back into the game. Prince of Persia, he used to be in the end game required because he was such a good hero at boosting the amount of damage that Blood Mage could do as the main damage dealer, or even as Moody could do as the main damage dealer for Flame Dragon. He was also incredibly strong when it came to to Statue of Heroes, giving the XDE, together camping that with Luo to get up to 16% extra XDE, which could help your heroes a ton when it came to doing as much damage as possible into the game. His active skill is a really good stun, 3.5 seconds. That is a really good stun. You can use him really well to completely knock down, as you can see right here. It beats them back to the beginning of the action bar and then stuns them. If you have a really annoying enemy such as Auric that you're facing, Prince of Persia or Poppy is just really good at just annoying the fuck out of that Auric so that you don't need to take the active skill. Auric having nearly full energy is going to use his active skill on all of your 3 heroes in the front line. Poppy attacking him can just knock him back and then stun him, giving you 3.5 seconds more time that you can get him into rage mode without him actually using the active skill, which is just more time that you can, which just means that you have less time in the fight that you need to deal with the dumb Auric debuff. It's really good in the 110 Agi Ruin. He's really good in Agi Ruins, and he has the every time he deals critical damage, he will recover 80 energy on the ally. This one is pretty. This one was really good for Flame Dragon back in the day, but it doesn't really matter now anymore. And this one is the most important thing. Why is it only 100 Aki when all of the other ones is just so way much more? Wait, this one is the one that is more. Don't mind me, I'm just rambling. But the 10% XD, that is such a really good bonus. However, Luo, she does the same thing. She gives 6% XD. Kasumi, she gives 18%. And then you have sigils on top. The Poppy has fallen off so badly, and it really hurts to see him that low, man. It really hurts to see him fall off this badly. He still has some use cases in Fiend's Lairs and the Enchanted Path because you can't be getting any buffs. And but I don't really see any use case for him anymore outside of that, which really hurts because he was one of the best heroes in the entire game, and now I don't really know what to do with him anymore. I don't really know what to do with Prince of Persia. I want to be putting him. Where is my. What is going on with my lag? You can go down here. Stop it. Okay. So I don't really know where to put him. I want to be putting him in here because he is a really good normal hero. But he's fallen off so badly that I can't. I have to be putting him into niche, which really hurts because he used to be here. Prince of Persia used to be here. But he is a normal hero, so until you get the other heroes on top, he definitely is up into the A tier. But for endgame, I can't be putting him up there. It's not fair. Even though I love this hero, even though he's such an incredibly good hero, I can't really do that. I have to put him into niche, which really hurts because of just how good this hero actually is. But that's the name of the game. I guess that is the name of the game. Time moves on, and normal heroes will just get further and further down the tier list. But for right now, I have to be putting him into niche because he's really good in certain game modes. Best in slot in the Enchanted Path for the annoying shit that's going on to there in Fiend's Layers 3, which is really perfect there because he doesn't have any buffs that can be prevented. He just has the 10%. But yeah, I don't really know where to put him. I want to be putting him into here, but I can't really do that, not in 2026. So I have to be putting him into niche, but he's way ahead of the Swordsman. Next up, we have Crossbowman. Let's go back into the... Yeah, Crossbowman Yeah, he's absolutely insane in the early game. When his attack right here can do as much damage as possible because the enemy doesn't really have any defense. As soon as the enemy got any defense, his damage absolutely plummets and he has no real use whatsoever. The energy of the enemy, that doesn't even help because attacking your enemy, that gives them energy. So this is just completely useless. It's just every single arrow will increase the energy that an enemy has. This one is just completely useless. The healing is nice, I get that, but this one right here, this is one is completely useless. Is it 20 energy that an enemy gets when being hit? I think it's something like that. 20 or 25, I do not remember. And this one removes it by 30. Yeah, it removes it by 5 or 10. Just what the hell? This is one, it doesn't matter at all. This is such an annoying skill, just completely useless. If this one should have any use, it should be bypassing the energy regeneration when being hit, but it doesn't. Just what? Quick shot is useless. This one, this one is nice, but you will never be getting him up to 13 star in time to use him in the early game. Just no. The marks is cool. Fixed damage. The silence is cool, but just no. Even Nightblade is better than this dumbass crossbow man. And this one, whoa, terrible damage, just terrible hero. I don't like this hero at all. But he's not into the bottom tier. He is really good at one thing, and that is to being a pinnacle star hero. Because you need to level this hero up in order to get your pinnacle tower as big as possible. Now, let's move on to a hero that a lot of heroes and that a lot of people have slept on. Just hydration check. This is going to be a long video. Hydration check completed. Okay, here we have Rifleman. Rifleman. This will be a fun talk. Rifleman, early game, pretty good actually. He has some solid damage output. However, when it comes to Runes of Miracles, he has one requirement in order to make him properly work early game, and that is if you get Kasumi up early. If you get Kasumi up early, this is an A tier hero, no questions asked. He completely dominates Runes of Miracles for Agi. He's absolutely insane for bosses. He does some absolutely crazy damage, and he has one of the most useful skills for an Agi hero when it comes to boss damage. And that is the blind right here. Reduces its hits rate by enemies, just meaning that the boss has a really high chance of missing, which just means that you dodge any damage. That also means for status effects, that also means for stuns. You can headhunter, stunning your entire team. Nope. Retry a couple of times, have the hit rate going on, and you can just completely negate that part of the boss. I know that we're talking about a 1 in quadrillion chance for getting that for the entire fight, but it is still a really helpful thing to have your heroes have some extra dodge so that you're not getting one shit, especially when it comes to targeting the lowest HP hero, because that is just a complete wipe from full HP. Adding the headshot ability, this is really, really, really good. He would honestly be in the Ruins specific tier. That is basically where he should be, unless you have Kasumi built, because then he gets incredibly powerful. Kasumi just massively boosts his damage to the point where he is basically just beating Wolf for top damage. This one, the capstone, it's good, but it doesn't really do anything at all. It is pretty good, and it is a pretty big damage to him, but it's not really that necessary. And yeah, I'm going to be ranking him completely based on the fact that he has Kasumi in his team, because that's the fair thing to do. But if you don't, he is in here. If you do not have Kasumi built up to 13 stars, he will be into this tier right here, above Bat Warrior. If you do have her built, is in this tier right there. I'm going to be putting him below. I'm going to be putting him above Asura Warrior just because of the blind. But Asura Warrior is way more useful when it comes to super late game because of the attack. Fuck, I need to put Asura Warrior above because the fact that he's best in slot in Fiend Slayers for boosting the damage output of Franken when it comes to Aggie Ruins and stuff like that. Just an insane team-wide buff with the attack bonus. Yeah, I have to put him above Rifleman, but I have to be putting Rifleman up to this point. If he was a legendary hero doing the same amount of things, I would be putting him in down here. But because the fact that he's a normal hero, completely free to build when it comes to Jade, I have to be putting him up here. It is only fair to do that. Now, let us move on. You already see who is coming next, and that is Elf Archer. Now, let us talk about Elf Archer really quick. What is the best part about Elf Archer? Okay, so that is the skin right here. That is the best part of Elf Archer. I love this skin right here, the skin effect and the skin image. I love this image so much. I just saw that coming back on the looking through getting the icons. I love this image. That is the by far best part of this hero. Anyway, jokes aside, mid doesn't matter at all. This one, dispel any buffs on targets. This one is great when it comes to Bishop, targeting Bishop, reducing their energy, and 85% chance to dispel any buffs on targets. This is a great skill. This one doesn't really matter because the damage is really bad to begin with. This one doesn't really matter either. And this one doesn't really matter either. This one, yeah, it sounds good if this was on another hero. I don't. If you want to have a damage dealer for Aggie, you're not going to be using Elf Archer. You're going to be using any of the other choices that we will be talking about later. A low star Franken, for example. He's a bad hero at low stars. He will still be doing way more damage than Elf Archer. That's not even a question. I've tried Franken low stars on my non-meta account. He did so fucking well, man. My camera is janking out so bad, but I don't really care. Anyway, let us go back onto the tier list. And because the video is already 45 minutes long, holy shit, I'm going to be putting Elf Archer into Pinnacle Stars. Arguably worse than both of these. Nah, I have to be putting Elf Archer here. I can't really do anything else than that. Elf Archer, just... what can you even do with this hero? There's not much that you really can do. She sounds good on paper, but in actuality, she just does not scale to that amount of damage at all. Let's move on. Hellboy! Now this is a hero that I really enjoy. Hellboy. Or what you may also know him as, the end game nuke. He has this passive skill right now, the command skill right here. When battle begins, increases the critical damage, that means skill crit chance, not skill crit damage and crit damage by 74% and 8% physical defense ignored. That means that he gets up to 100% PDE, and he can do a lot of normal attacks, which is which this one. Normal attacks does attacks twice, so want to have as much attack on him as possible, which again means Asura Warrior buffing the attack at start of the round. You see where I'm going with Asura right now? He can absolutely demolish enemies, and not only that, the black flame thing just absolutely ridiculously strong in PvP. I know that PvP doesn't really matter as a game mode, but he's one of the best Aggie damage dealers when it comes to PvP. So that is one thing that you can keep in mind when you roast and are annoyed that this hero doesn't work properly. That this hero doesn't really work properly that well against bosses if you don't build him for the nuke build. He's absolutely great when it comes to mobs. He's really, really good for mobs, packing out his skill crit damage as much as possible. But against bosses, you really want to maximize the amount of damage in the command skill duration. He can do an insane amount of damage. He can be doing really well. The main thing that people don't like him for is the fact that you just can't use him at all in the Fiend's Layers 1 Agri because the Monic will just absolutely destroy your entire team because you will be getting the Black Flame reflected onto you, which is one of the most annoying and dangerous skill effects in the entire game. Pretty much, you do not want to have that reflected onto your team. That is an instant GG. So yeah, that just proves just how strong this hero is. But he has some downsides, and that is really strong when you start using him in the Runes of Miracles. If you don't build him properly, he won't be doing any damage whatsoever, and I can't really be putting him and his damage up to the A tier, even though I really, really want to. I forgot that he even has a really good bond. Doesn't he have like a solid bond? I think he did. No, it was the attack one, but I thought he had one more. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, that is the max HP one. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, anyway, he's a great hero. He has a solid damage output, and he can do an insane amount of damage in an in a really, really short amount of time. However, he's really difficult to use. That is his main drawback. It's just how difficult this hero is to use properly. And I kind of have to drag him down because of that, even though I have been talking so good about him for so many minutes right now. I don't really know what to do with him right here. I want to be putting him into here because he is at that level of these two heroes when he's working properly. Easily he is at this level right here in the A tier, but he doesn't really have that amount of help that the other heroes has, and the fact that he is one of the most difficult heroes to build because he doesn't have any dungeons that can give him free fragments. I will be putting him into ruins. It has the same problem with Bat Warrior that none of these heroes can be obtained from ruins, not from dungeons. But he's a really, really good hero, and when you get Hellboy built, oh my god, he's being. Oh my god, you will have a lot of fun with this hero. But the ceiling in order to use him is so high that I can't be putting him into the same equation as Rifleman and Wolf. I just can't. It's not fair to do that. But he is definitely at that level if you use him properly. The next hero on our list is Lance Hunter. Lance Hunter used to be in this list right here. No questions asked, he used to be here, and I'm going to be talking about why. Now let us just move over to Lance Hunter. He is a physical attack hero, the second hero released into the game from Age. And what does Lance Hunter do? His active skill deals a lot of damage to a single target and increases its energy by 650. The thing that you need to know about reducing the energy of targets is the fact that they have something called drain resistance, which means that there is a big chance that it will not be activated at all, and you'll need to restart the fight a lot of times in order to make it work, such as Fiend's Layers, such as Ruins of Miracles, such as any place really that you want to be using Lance Hunter. There's a very big chance that the active skill will not reduce any energy at all, but when it does, it is really, really nice. That is basically more than half an active skill that you just removed from the boss, allowing you to survive a few seconds longer without having the annoying active skill just either completely lock down your team with debuffs, or just completely wipe your team with damage. Javelin is really good, but the main part that you want to be using this hero is the fact that he increases the amount of damage that your enemies with the mark takes with with a lot of damage, 75% right here. And also they gain energy whenever they attack. He used to be best in slot for Flame Dragon. He used to be best in slot for Expedition. He used to be best in slot in so many different situations because he was the best the second best damage buffer in the entire game after Joan, of course. However, these skills, who does this remind you of? Oh, let me guess. Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh getting released completely wiped Lance Hunter off the face of the earth because what everything Lance Hunter was good at, Gilgamesh just did way, way better. And she is a strength hero, which means that she is really tanky compared to Lance Hunter, which is an Aggie hero with no sustainability at all. Gilgamesh is just such a way, way, way better hero and can't really do any. And Lance Hunter can't really do anything at all to keep up. However, Lance Hunter still has some use, and that comes to the fact that he has the damage bonus that can be stacked together with Gilgamesh, allowing you to one-shot bosses that previously you were standing no chance of. If your goal is trying to do as much damage in one hit as possible, as early on in the fight as possible, you want to be using Hunter's Mark from Lance Hunter together with Gilgamesh and pray that the hit will be able to one-shot your enemy. This is completely possible, and it is the strat that I worked on in order to one-shot King of Bones with Anu Break. He is a really good hero, but I can't really put him above niche at this time of the game, but he's definitely at that point because he's such a good hero in some of these places. I will be putting him above the swordsman, but still I'm going to be putting Poppy down because just how far Poppy has fallen. And was that the last normal hero from Agility? Let me just scroll down and see real quick. I might be forgetting some. I might be, but I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, let's just move over to the legendary heroes now then. The one thing that we need to talk about when I rank these legendary heroes is not how good they are on their own or how good they are in the team themselves, but the fact that they are a legendary hero and the fact that you need to have them built in order to make them work pretty well. Some of these requires capstone in order to work properly at all, but they're so mid that getting them to that point just hurts you so much when it comes to Jade to pushing heroes that you actually need to be pushing in order to get well into the end game. So some of these heroes are arguably better than some of these heroes at this point right here, but I will still be putting them down to pinnacle stars because there are better options than those heroes when it comes to the game themselves. So yeah, this is a pretty difficult thing to rank, and it's not really fair as some of these might be better than these heroes right here, as I said, but you'll never really be using them properly because of just the expense and time required in order to actually build up. But let's just start off with Abing. You probably know the fact that I have been using this hero a lot. I made the 4000 keys stream in order to build him. He has some really nice skills. This one, it's it's a bit annoying to read, but it's basically completely forgot what it is even is. Bro, it's been 10 months since I played this game. But basically, the long assault is mid damage and it applies some buffs. The long assault, the target gains. Yeah, that's what it was again. It is an energy drain, which is pretty good in a lot of different situations. This one, this one is really good because it applies a lot of attack and it also heals him. And yeah, it is a lot of fixed damage and the energy again. Enemies have drain rest, so this will not be reducing as much energy as you think it will. It is kind of mid overall. This one, absolutely insane amounts of damage. This skill right here just completely ruins enemies. Having that skill, pair him with the Ao-Chan and then having the Eye of Arcane Echoes to make him attack twice, or having just, you don't even need that. You probably just want to be using Bravery of Mars anyway. Roar across the sky. It does an insane amount of damage. This one is pretty much the most important part of his damage output as a whole. And yeah, that is one is really strong. Starting off that one with the Outshine just going nuclear. All enemies attack decreased by 15%. It is nice, but overall it is more of a support skill. He is pretty good overall though. He gets a lot of attributes from strength and Agi, which is also required to get as much damage as possible from Roar Across the Sky. Be right back, I'm getting ragged by a cat. Imagine getting ragged by a cat. We don't like being ragged by a cat. Yeah, anyway, Roll Across the Sky, this is the main part of his damage output. And then you have this one, getting more damage bonus. He's looking pretty good with damage overall, but you kind of want to get his skin in order to get him to the top tiers. He has a lot of usability, and you can use him in Strength Rum, which is one of his biggest strengths because you don't need because you can use an Aggie set in order to maximize, in order to minimize the amount of strength or presets that you need to use in order to progress well in Strength Run. Overall, a pretty good hero and really, really good in certain situations. Let me move over. However, because the fact that he is... Man, this is difficult. Um, I want to be putting him into here, but the fact that he is I want to be putting him into here because he is better than Wolf. That is not even a question to ask. But he is a legendary hero. Am I going to be putting him into here? He's definitely nowhere close to this point right here. But because of the skin and the usability factors that he has, and just how insane you can camp his long attack, the roar across the sky attack, yeah, I pretty much have to put him in here below Wolf. Next up, we have Alita. Alita has been in here for so many years now, but I'm not going to be putting her into here, and I'm going to be explaining why. Now, let us move over to Alita. One of the top damage dealers when it comes to agility as a whole. The capstone doesn't really matter at all. You don't really care about that. You just, when you have a 30 star, you're just going for this middle line right here. Anyway, the active skill doesn't matter at all. That is fixed damage, and that is just absolutely abysmal when enemies, heroes' HP just keeps going up and up and up. The bouncing, she deals a lot of normal attack, and normal attacks are buffed by attack. so give her as much attack as you humanly can, and she will just do a lot of bounces. She will do a lot of normal attack target, and this one reduces the target's energy. But you also want to be using the Goblin Toe. Whenever you're using her, you want to be using the Goblin Toe, which has a 50% chance to reduce their energy. Normal attack, 50%, but normal attacks bounce. So basically, you have three normal attacks that you can do every single time that she acts. She's incredibly fast as well. So basically, what you're doing to your enemy team is trying to lock down their energy completely. This used to be completely broken before they nerfed that part of her. She was best in slot in every single map because of this, and she works really, really good even at lower stars. She still does work pretty well at lower stars if you get her enough attack in order to do well. She has the Agi here. She has the attack from this one and the credit damage from this one. She has a fuck ton of attack, sorry my language, from Agi Pinnacle Tower as well as credit damage. Just a solid hero overall, and you really want to be using the 2x tier 3 Agi for the, let me find it, right here, the dodge as well, and the chance to increase to reduce the next action bar. That is really, really, really good, man, because that just means she goes faster, and the faster she gets, the more chances you have to lock down the team's energy. However, she's completely useless against bosses. And when you get really far into Fiend Slayers, there are some parts where Franken will do better. There are some parts where Obing will probably even do better. And she doesn't really have any proper amount of targeted AoE or anything at the point where you really need to target certain enemies. This one doesn't really matter. She chips down the enemy's HP and has a chance to reduce their energy, which is great. And she's an insane damage dealer, basically top 3 or top 4 Agi damage dealers in the game. But I'm not going to be putting her into endgame required because you can complete every single piece of Agi content in the game without having a leader at all. Because there's two heroes that just completely negates that requirement and just completely just nopes that requirement. But I'm going to be putting her into Grape without Capstone above these two heroes right here. No questions asked. She is in the A tier. I don't care at all. Alistar is the next hero, and I'm going to be putting her into Unsure, and that is just going to be where I'm going to be putting her. She used to be the most broken thing ever because of her active skill, dealing attack percent physical damage to the attacker whenever they attacked her. That was based on their attack, and enemies damage is completely based on attack because that's how enemies work. They don't have anything like int or agi. They don't have any primary attributes. They just have attack, defense, and HP. That's all that enemies have in PVM and PvE. So basically, what this thing did, she could solo bosses in Fiend Slayers. Because bosses has such an insane amount of attack that, yeah, Fiend Slayer's 5 boss just noped himself in like 2 hits, except for like one debuff thing that he does that makes that annoying, but the other ones, she can just completely, you can do 3 totem cob with a 6-star Alistar. That's it, that's the damage that you need. That's it, that's all you needed. and just some really good luck and hopefully getting some other things going with some good speed, but we don't really need to talk about that. Just Cobb hitting her like 3 times, and he was completely dead from full HP. That is how broken Alistar was. Now it's based on her attack, and it's not really that good. I've not seen any use out of her at all after her nerf. I think she might still be pretty good, and the energy right here just means that she can cast the sword dance even more. But I have no idea what she can actually do at this point, now that she is nerfed to the point that she was supposed to be at the first that she is supposed to be. I don't really know where to put her, so I have to be putting her into unsure because I have no clue whatsoever. Now let's move on to Anubis. I don't really know this hero a lot, but I know one thing. He does a fuck ton of fixed damage, and in Osiris, I think it was. Yeah, Osiris, I think it was. There's a lot of fixed damage, and he's pretty good at surviving. The thing that about fixed damage that you want is if your rings are terrible, he doesn't really care if his rings are awful, because a lot of people don't really push rings or know about rings that much, like getting up to high amounts of defense ignored. So he is absolutely solid because it does a lot of fixed damage, but fixed damage has the problem that it doesn't scale, and unless you have a hero like Asura Warrior that has such an insane amount of scaling that it doesn't really matter, just deleting anything. That is the problem that Osiris has, and the fact that he's a legendary hero, I don't really know where to put this hero, but I know that his damage is nowhere close to the point that you need in order to justify building a legendary hero as a damage dealer. I'm going to be putting him at the bottom of Pinnacle Stars. Next hero up, you might be surprised about this one, but we're going to be talking about this one right now. Loki. I'm going to sound so mean, but I hate this hero so. He's one of my most hated heroes in the entire game. I can't stand this piece of shit. Basically, what he does, he has a lot of damage potential, which increases with the amount of pain. Pain basically means that he takes a lot less damage from them and increases the amount of damage that they take. And also, he can get a lot of max HP. Why the fuck would I want 40% more max HP from the fight? Why would I want that? Fights aren't lasting until, like, you don't time out when using Loki. You want to end the fights as quickly as possible. Yay, I'm gaining more energy. I can use more actives because I can get 40% more HP. Who cares about 40% HP? I hate this hero. It doesn't work at all in the meta. It doesn't work at all. His skills are just so anti-synergistic with what you actually need in order to make him work in a team. Why would you ever use Loki? I hate this hero, and I'm going to be putting him. I don't even care. He's not even working in the unsure Pinnacle Stars. He goes at the bottom of I hate these heroes. Just no, I don't like him at all. Fuck this hero. Just no. Screw this hero, man. Screw this hero. Ah, rant over. Fuck this hero, man. Just no. Boo. I don't care. Screw this hero, man. Screw this hero. Okay, laugh over. Let's move over to Sobek. uh, Sobek! The first double hero, double attribute hero that was added. He is a support hero that allows you to heal more, basically, which is a really, really, really good combo together with Luo. Really, really good combo together with Luo. an incredibly strong hero, and he has the delaying action right here, also increasing the damage they take. But not only that, he has every single time that he dodges, and he has a really high chance to dodge because of the tail escape right here, giving him 30%. He just heals up to full HP pretty much instantly, which is really good. And considering the fact that he is an Aggie hero, do you know who you can camp with him if you really need his survivability? Rifleman. Basically having a 50% extra chance in order to dodge, making him completely unkillable unless you are unlucky, which is pretty much me. This damp right here, delaying their action bar, having a lot of energy gain on him, just completely delaying enemy action bars, and the fact that he can be used in strength. Sobek, great makes tear, energy set, 106 strength ruin. Oh my god, he's so good at that. Sobek is insanely powerful, compact, paired with Athena in the 108 strength ruin, I think it was. Yeah, whatever. The strength ruin in Eternal Inferno. He's really, really good there. He is really good in difficult content as well. He's not that good in Runes of Miracles. It doesn't really pair that well with those fights, but he can work pretty well too. But he's really strong in certain Agi content. Is one of the best Agi tanks in the game. And yeah, he's overall really, really good at what he does. However, I'm going to be putting him in niche above these heroes right here. He's really good when you get to use him properly, but you don't really get to use him that often at all. I'm going to be putting him below Prince of Persia. Yeah, he's really good. He's better than the Ruins of Miracles and Agi Rune specific heroes. He has more use cases than Agi Ruins and stuff like that. And the fact that he works really well even at lower stars, it just makes him that good that I have to be putting him off the niche, but I can't be putting him into the A tier. The next hero, however, I need to be putting in here straight away. People don't like him. People don't know how good Long Yi is. So let's talk about Long Yi right now, and we can see just how good he actually is. Dragonflight deals some damage to 3 enemies, and enemies with discipline will be the prime, and the discipline right here causes the where is the discipline? Where the fuck is discipline, man? Yeah, anyway, disciplines can't be dodged, and what discipline does is that it completely prevents enemies from gaining buffs. And what does that mean? Well, the swordsman, that's an annoying ass hero to attack, because when you get him up to basically kill him, he gets a shield that makes him immune to all damage. Nope. Long Yi, he just says nope. That swordsman is gone. Goblin Mage will completely nuke out all of his mystic shields at the start whenever he gains that, but he can't at all regain any buffs. Headhunter and Ifrit in Runes of Miracles, they have some of the worst buffs in the entire game to deal with. You have the Reflect from Headhunter, and you have Radiance from Ifrit. That will just completely wipe your entire team if you're not prepared for this. You need to remove buffs? No. Just add Long Yi. One discipline stack. You don't need to care about those at all. It's just that incredibly good. His damage doesn't matter. But he's also incredibly tanky. Get an 8-star Long Yi, put some proper gear on him. That's your hero that you need in order to counter up to 75 Aggron. That's your hero. That's all you need to spend on him. You don't need to level up his skills. You don't need to do shit with him. You just need to get a proper ring in order to make him tanky, and then you just need to use his active skill and just get enemies to have discipline. This hero is the best debuffer in the entire game, completely negating so many enemies. He's such a good hero. Bristleback is an example. When you deal a certain amount of damage to Bristleback, he will be regaining his bristles. Now, we don't need to care about that. Longy just puts a discipline, and Bristleback will never be able to activate those bristles again. Never in the entire fight. And he's one of the best Aggie tanks that we have in the entire game. That is just how good this hero is. He's not rune specific. You can use him in other content as well. Not only as one of the best Aggie tanks that we have, but also the best debuffer or control hero in the entire game too. He's just that good of a hero, and we need to be putting him this high up on the tier list. So, where I will be putting him? Great without capstone. I'm not going to be putting him into endgame required. That is some S tier heroes that we'll be talking about later. Can we talk about the, or maybe we can talk about that right now? Because now we have Luo. I know some people don't like Luo that much anymore because of the addition of Kazumi, but let's see once again what Luo actually does. She has the delaying action bar, which basically means one thing: great makes tear, camping as much energy on her as possible, and all of the enemy's action bars will just be going down and down and down. Then you have control effects in as well. What happens to the enemies? Okay, you can just get them down and down and down, and just delaying their action bars just means that they will have less time to actually use their attacks, and the longer it takes for them to use their attacks, the longer it will take for them to get full energy in order to use their active skills. This is really good anywhere you use Luo. You want to be camping her concussive shot. Also, we got tranquilizing shot. This just doesn't really matter, which is a nice buff. But Art of the Flow, this one is so good. 20% hit rate. That basically means you will never ever miss any time in Runes of Miracles. You will never miss whenever Art of the Flow is up. And then you have the 6% defense ignored. This one is really, really good. You can even use this to cheese Statue of Heroes, because that means that you can use Web of Death on Mathos way earlier than you normally would be able to, because of getting the 6% from here. Really good. And she's also a healer, which is a really good part. And you can also use her active skill in order to have a targeted 45% damage bonus on your heroes. However, the Serenity and the pre-bonus will only work when Art of the Flow is up. So you need to make sure that Art of the Flow, this battle skill right here, is on your heroes, which is really annoying in some fights because you're way too slow. But that is where another hero we'll be talking about later will be coming in. This one doesn't really matter that much, and this one doesn't really matter that much. It's just some extra healing. So let us go over to the tier list and let's see where we will be placing her. I'm not entirely sure if I should be putting her in any of these tiers, but because of the fact that she has so many use cases, she's best in slot in Aggie. She's one of the best Aggie healers that you have, so you pretty much are forced to use her. She has the timeable 45% damage bonus that you can control when to use on your heroes, much like Odin, so that you can maximize your amount of damage that you want to be using. And she also has the defense ignored, allowing you to use her in Statue of Heroes. I have to be putting her into endgame required, but at the bottom of the tier but at the bottom of the tier. But she's definitely an S tier hero. I can't do anything else than putting Luo into S tier. That would be such a big scam. I just can't do that. She is one of the best Aggie heroes in the entire game, and it would be a scam of me not putting her into S tier. Now let's move on to Artemis, one of my favorite heroes. And we will be going over and seeing what we can do with her. Now we got Artemis right here. Sick design, by the way. This one, dealing silence to up to 3 enemies. You want to be having her either in the back line or as a middle tank, which you don't really want to do, but you really want to have her in the back line because that means that you can target 3 enemies with her active skill, which just means a lot more silence, which is pretty good. She basically like a Nightblade in that factor. The Blue Moon increases the target's all allies crit hit chance and skill crit chance by 10%, and crit hit damage and skill crit damage by 31.8%. Do you know which hero works incredibly well with this buff? Hellfire Hunter. You want to maximize your amount of damage as much as possible at the start, getting even more crit hit damage from here. And then you can also add some skill crit damage for the active skill, but also this is really, really good for certain heroes. It's not that great for heroes like Wolf. Doesn't really do that much for him. It's absolutely great for Rifleman because he does both normal attacks and skill crits, which means that this helps him a lot. But it's also good for a lot of other heroes. And if you somehow wanted to use this combo, you could use the Artemis together with Zhuge Liang in order to get a way bigger shield due to the skill crit damage. However, that is not really necessary. The Shackles and the Soul, okay, they're just boosting her damage, but she's more of a support hero than anything else. Block ignored, this one is pretty nice as well. But yeah, the most important part of Artemis is the full moon and just how big of a buff this actually is. Look at your heroes, look at their stats and what they can do. And she is one of the better support heroes that you can have for a boss, for a damage dealer, as she will massively increase the amount of damage that you can actually do to a boss in order to really camp the damage that you can deal really hard and well together to beat them just completely down to the bottom. So yeah, she's a really good buffer and support hero, so I need to rank her up accordingly. Let's go up. Let's find Artemis. I am going to be putting her into the ruins. Yeah, I'm going to be putting her into the ruins. She's absolutely great in Agi ruins, and that's basically where you'll be going to be using her. The next hero. This is difficult, man. I love Nuala. I love this hero. He's so cool, and I even buffed him a lot these last few updates. He's such a good hero. His damage outputs is insane. He's one of the best expedition damage dealers in the entire game. But he's a legendary hero, meaning that you need to get him up in order to use him properly. But if you get him up, I can only really speak from my experiences with seeing him on the Discord and actually going through the mats, seeing what he can actually do. He's been one of my favorite projects for so long, hoping someone can actually build him properly and seeing what he can actually do at his full potential. I'm really interested into seeing that. He even got this massive buff in the last update. So yeah, what do we even do about him at this point? He has the physical defense ignored. his damage output is absolutely insane to the point of competing with the top few heroes that we have. But the problem is that the gear and the stars and the required things that you need to make him work properly is so high that it won't really be that good for most players. But just because I love this hero so much, and let me see this one. I am going to be putting him at the top of you need him as high as possible, so I will be putting him up there. The capstone is nice. It is a big damage bonus to him. Like, what is that? Like 20% or 15% damage bonus. Doesn't really matter, but you want to be getting him as high as possible. And it's definitely significantly better than these two, but it doesn't have the same support or stuff like Luo has, so I have to be putting him below Luo, which is the case with other damage dealers that we will also be seeing later on. But he has to be in this tier. I can't put him below there, but I really want to put him here, but I can't without actually seeing what he can do. Next up, do we even need to have this conversation, man? I don't think we need to have this conversation, man. What the fucking hell is this hero? We don't even need to have this conversation, man. I'm you know what I'm going to be doing just because of just how broken this hero is. She's definitely in here. I'm even considering putting her in here, especially if you have the capstone, which is just ugh. But it takes absolutely years in order to get her up that point, and even at the lower stars, she's one of the better damage dealers in the entire game for any non-boss content. Just how can you not put Mavis in this spot right here? Just you have to. There's no questions asked. She is definitely in that slot right here. Let's move on to Diao Chan. We love Diao Chan. Diao Chan is such a great hero. And let's be talking about her right now. Let's move back over. Let's move over to Diao Chan. I love this hero. Dance of Blossom Fall, one of the most broken active skills in the entire game, and that's not even a joke. Go into any cellar, have full energy when the round ends, instantly use this active skill at the start of a round, have Athena in your team. What the fuck is a gladiator? What the fuck is any kind of damage that instantly kills your heroes? Doesn't matter. They can't attack. They can't do shit against you because of the fact that they lose so much energy. It doesn't even matter that much with Drain Rest either. Just completely negating such a big part of the enemy teams doesn't really matter on bosses, as it says right here, but it is such an impactful skill when it comes to enemies. Like Sellers, for example. She is basically, I'm going to say this arguably right now, top 10 bestseller hero in the entire game. No questions asked. That is just how good she is in sellers, and that includes Fiend Slayers. That is just how good this hero is when it comes to sellers. And not only that, she has the where the fuck is it, man? Yeah, this one right here, accelerating their action and replacing their normal attacks with random battle skill. You know what that means, right? Su Liang. He instantly starts off his fight because he starts off with a normal attack, which means that pair him with Diao Chan, his first action has a 50% chance to be a shield. It is really, really good. Compare that with, for example, Obing. He starts with a normal attack. 50% chance for Roar of the across the sky to completely wipe an entire fight. That is just how good she is. That is just two examples. There's so many more. And the speed bonus as well just means that your heroes can do so well. Athena, for example, she does not start with a normal attack, but having that speed bonus at the start just means that you have so much more time to use her shield before you actually die, and then add on the Blossom Fall as well. Jiao Chan, arguably top 10 bestseller support hero in the entire game, and it's not even a questions asked. So yeah, when we're going to be ranking Jiao Chan, I will be doing that based on just how good she is in so many game modes, and just how good she is in so many places. I will be putting her into great without capstone. Right here, A tier. She's not at this level right here because it's not a game changer that completely changes the game as a whole. And I still think that Luo is better than Diao Chan, even though Diao Chan sees more use. What Luo does has a bigger effect on what you can actually do than what Diao Chan does, except for early game where you really need to have Sugliang's shield up as soon as possible. But you're not counting Luo solely based on Mathos. You're pretty much solely basing Diao Chan on Su Liang. So yeah, I have to put Luo above Diao Chan, but it's close. And these are pretty much the same tier, just they need the capstone pretty much or high stars. And this works pretty well no matter what stars they are, but they are better at higher stars. Now let's move on and we can find. Stop it. Momochi. This hero is such a niche hero, but it's such a niche but his niche is so incredibly overpowered that I have to be talking about it. Substitution Jutsu. This is the part that you needed to read. Summons a substitution that prevents an ally from death when the ally is receiving the fatal one-hit damage. And it will be available every 9 seconds. That doesn't really matter, you only really need it once. Do you know what this means? There's one place where you notice how good that is. Fiends layers 1 agility rune demonic. In round 3 there is Alita, or maybe round 2, I don't remember, that will target your lowest HP hero, wiping that hero completely because of the fixed damage. And then you're moving over with one less hero, and that is brutal, making that pretty much impossible. Basically meaning that you need to overstar, overgear, and just completely spend so much more time doing that fight than you actually need to do. Add Momochi in the team, Alita doesn't even matter. Then you just need to focus on doing as much damage as possible so that she doesn't do the active ability twice. Do you know how good that is? I'm going to tell you how good that is. That is 1 to 1.5 years of progress saved because of one hero. And he has a lot of dodge as well. So yeah, I forgot to put it in here, but this is the substitution jutsu. I need to be putting him into the right tier, and that is niche. But I'm going to be putting him above this because of just how much time you save having this one hero built for that one specific fight. He's such an insane game changer, and I'm sure that he has other use cases as well, such as the Aggie Tower post 700. And also he is just one of the best tanks and builds in entire game. Long Yi for the Aggie Tower. Have both of them and you just can't die. He has the dodge and he has the damage reduction from discipline. Yeah, that is just an insane damage survivability increase. Next up, we have Doggo, Anubis. He is down in here. He can revive, and he has this really annoying skill right here that deals the death declaration shit. I don't really remember what it is, but it is a fixed damage. It can do so much damage to you, and it's so annoying to deal with. Having him in PvP just completely can wipe your team, even if he has a terrible ring, and then he can just revive, and just such an annoying hero to deal with. But is one of the most annoying heroes to deal with. But does that make him good? I'm going to argue not. I'm going to argue not. But this one is pretty decent as well. But like, he's more of a support hero. Can do some big fixed damage. But as I said before, fixed damage does not scale, meaning it doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, let's be putting him into Pinnacle Stars. I can't really put him anywhere place else. The same as Roxa. Let's talk about Roxa, man. We need to talk about Roxa. Roxa! Let's go. What does Roxa do? He does damage. Oh wait, he does not do damage. He does bleeding damage. Oh wait, he does not do bleeding damage. He does some recovery. Yeah, he can recover some HP. Oh, he's sick as heck with this beard thing. No, it's not beard thing, but it's like, yay! Yeah. What does this hero do? Bleeding. Bleeding sucks. It's fixed damage. Doesn't really matter, and it doesn't really scale that much because it has very low agility. Bleeding enemy. Yay! Makes him faster. He's slow. Woo. He has the petty talent. And this one. Yay! Deals even more fixed damage. So basically, where can you use this hero? Where is fixed damage good? Well, fixed damage is good in PvP. Is this hero good in PvP? No. He has no survivability aspect, and he is really bad at targeting what you want to be targeting. Just who can you use for this hero? He is memed at as top 3 worst heroes in the entire game. When can we have a Roxa buff, man? Even an account solely requiring you to build only bleed heroes, which was TU. Had no use from him. That's so bad he is. That a bleed hero, that a bleed account that solely relies on bleed heroes with a 15-star Roxa has no entire use from this hero. What do we even mean? No, Roxa is garbage, man. He's at the bottom of Pinnacle Stars, and we can't do anything about that. Nico, I'm putting into Unsure above Alistar. I've heard a lot of good things about him, but he was added after I quit, and I don't really know what to do with him. I know that he has a lot of healing, but I'm not at all sure at just where he would place. I would probably place him into Ruins, but I heard that his healing is really good. But his A tier, I don't know. He can be any of these tiers right here. I have never seen him used properly. I've heard that he's a good healer, but you have Luo and Yao Chan. He's like a really, really good healer. But I don't really know where to place him right here. So I'm going to be putting him in on Unsure. I don't really know what to do with him after that. Same with Nessa. Nessa just got a massive buff from the hero thing. I could be putting him into bonds because he's such a good bond, but he got such a big buff and he was already good to begin with. He might even be up here. For all we know, Nessa might be here. We're here. I don't know. I don't really know anything about that hero, but I know he's good. I know that he's really, really good, and I'm going to be putting him into Unsure. Above these. Yeah, I think that's fair. This is not because he is bad or worse than this, but because I have no idea how to fairly rank him between these 3 tiers right here. So I have to put him here. Kasumi, Do we have to have this conversation? Do we have to have this conversation? I don't think we have to have this conversation. This is top 5 best capstones in the entire game. She's one of the most broken heroes in the entire game, period. We don't need to have this conversation, man. And we will be putting Kazumi up here above Mavis. I will be putting her above Mavis. I don't care. I know Mavis is good, but Kazumi's top 5 best heroes in the entire game. We need to be putting him there. Her there. I don't really care. I just need to do that. Now, my favorite hero. Thanatos! We'll be putting him into the Joan tier and we'll be moving on now. I'm kidding. I love Thanatos, but I will be putting him onto there until we finish off this. Thanatos. One of the most painful enemies to attack in the entire game. One of the most broken enemies to attack in the entire game because of his because of his passive skill from the ring. This is the damage taken and transfers it. When he has like 100 million HP, you just what the hell are you going to do about that, man? They put my boy into the towers. They put my boy into infinity towers above 700. And he's just nuking all enemies that attack him. Why did they do that? That is so funny. I love this hero. It's so cool. It's the most annoying thing ever to fight because you can't. His damage is great. But his main problem is the fact that he's anti-synergistic against any team because he scales really hard when allies die in order to maximize his damage potential. On a one hero account, such as I have right here, he's great because I have no other heroes built and he can just nuke any wave and he can just do whatever he wants to. I love this hero, he's so cool. But does that mean he's cool and works well with the synergy and works pretty well? Well, he has one thing going for him. Where the heck is his bone, man? And that is this one, giving primary attribute buffs to Poseidon, which is just huge, giving int buffs to Poseidon for Flame Dragon. Yeah, that is a really good buff, and that's pretty much where I have to put him, because as the biggest Thanatos enjoyer in the entire game, I have to put him into bonds. I'm sorry, my boy, I love you so much, but I love this hero so much, but I can't do that. It would not be fair to put him any higher than that. Ishtar. Ishtar is good at healing. But is she though? Is she good at healing? That's the thing. She can do really well at healing if you build her properly. But why would you want that? Her buffs is so mid. Like, this puts her as a support hero. Like, her buffs is nice, dealing extra fixed damage. Like this one, nice. This one is nice. That's like pretty good at a long fight, but it's only 10%. And then the healing. This spells debuffs on targets below 30% health. When she was released, I wished this one went higher at the capstone. If it did, she would have been better. But the fact that it doesn't, when your hero is below 30% HP, you're dead. In 90% of fights, if your hero is below 30% HP and controlled, you're just dead. Doesn't matter. She has some very, very specific use cases, like Medusa, if you have her just absolutely jacked up because you think she's hot and you don't care about following in a meta. Yeah, she's good at that. Cool. She thinks she's hot. I just don't want to be playing Gooning. But, like, why would you do that? Why would you be building this hero? She's good if you can get her working. But why spend so much time and effort building a hero that you know won't be doing that well? There are better heroes. And now with Nico being just a significantly better healer, there is no use at all for her at this point in the meta. Just no use at all for Ishtar. I think she's cool. I think she has some use cases, but that's pretty much it. I can't really do anything more than that. Now let's move over to Jarrett. Everyone knows Jarrett. Everyone praises Jarrett. Everyone loves Jarrett, and everyone fucking hates to face Jarrett. What does he do? Well, he completely wipes you in Tiro with the lowest HP's energy. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's really fun. That's usually your damage dealer unless you have Athena built. Yeah, that's fun. That's really, really fun. And that's really good to face him. Yeah, we love this guy. And he's really tanky against Interos too. And you pretty much all of your damage will ever be from Interos. Use and a break against him. Yeah, that's really fun. You can't do any active skills. And from full HP with this shield you just nuked. What the hell are you going to do against this piece of shit? Anyway, everyone hates Jarrett and everyone loves to use him as a cheese hero against Cryo Ape or certain really annoying boss fights like Moon Spirit. He has been used a lot, which is the Fiend Slayer's 3 boss. Runes of Miracles? No. Just no. Runes as a whole? No. PvP? No. Statue of Pierce? No. Dragon? No. Where is he used? One boss or maybe two bosses? Maybe three bosses as a whole. That's Jarrett's whole thing. I should be putting him into niche, but do I want to do that? I I have to put him into niche. Yeah, I kind of have to do that. Now we have Franken. Now this is an interesting one because some people would put him into the capstone required tier, but he has one thing going for him. Basically, what does Franken do? He does damage. He does a lot and a lot of damage. And the bigger you get him, the more damage he can do. Now, let's go over the things that Franken can do. One, he will absolutely demolish any cellars, caves, collies, or any fights at all where you put him into Fiend Slayers. One of the best damage dealers for Fiend Slayers mobs. Okay, Runes of Miracles, one of the best damage dealers for Fiend Slayer, not for Runes of Miracles mobs. For bosses, he can one-shot certain bosses if you use him properly, and he's one of the better boss damage dealers outside of long fights because he is really good at doing as much a biggest amount of damage as quickly as possible, which again means just how good Asura Warrior Wrath of Asura works together, just buffing him insanely, as well as Ryan Brutusk's active, giving an insane amount of attack bonus, just completely allowing you to nuke any waves in Fiend Slayers and stuff like that. One of the best damage dealers for that. Okay, now what is he missing? Statue of Heroes. No, he's one of like 4 heroes that can, well, 3 heroes now that can actually beat 400 in Statue of Heroes. What does this hero not do? Mobs, bosses, Statue of Heroes. What does this hero not do? Flame Dragon? At this point, fuck Flame Dragon. He's one of the best heroes in the entire game, and I don't even care. I'm going to be putting him above Mavis. just because of just how expensive she is to build and how good he is. I am going to be putting Franklin at this point level right here. I have to. No questions asked. Franklin is one of the best heroes in the entire game, but he's still below Kasumi. Next up, we have Cyrandor. Okay then, not Kasumi. I don't know about this hero, man. He has MD. He has a lot of good skills. He's really, really quick, and he has a lot of energy drain as well. And some knocking the back in, doing some lot of weird shit for them. I don't really know about this hero. I've never really seen him properly, and I don't even know what kind of bonds he has. But even though I haven't seen him used properly, that doesn't mean that he's shit. It just means that he's weird hero that what are we going to use him for? Basically, what is his main purpose? His main purpose is controlling and holding down the enemy line, allowing your damage dealers to do as much damage as possible, while he does a lot of damage as well. Is this necessary though? In a lot of situations, I would say no. In order to get his damage properly, you want to have him really high well, like for the destructive tornado, and also getting them reducing their energy. But the fact is, in order to build him, you need the same amount of Jade that you need in order to build a 13-star Franken. And if you have to choose between one of them, you always choose Franken. If you're at the point in the end game where you can have both, you still don't need Surrender because there are better options. You can even build a really, really fucking big Bing and just maximize his amount of early fight nuking to just completely wreck, because from what I've heard, Bing is comparable damage with the skin to at 15 star with really high pinnacle tower as Franken. So where do you even put Cyrandor? I would put him into niche because he has some use cases, but those use cases are so incredibly limited to one fight. And that one fight does not matter as much as it does for Momochi, because Momochi has some other use cases as well, other than the Fiend Slayer's one, Agirun. And in the other ones, you don't need him because then you can use debuffs. So yeah, I don't really know how to put Cyrandor. He sounds really good on paper, but I don't really know where to put him. And because of that, I kind of have to put him in unsure. I don't really know what to do with him at this point. Yeah. Okay, who's next? Do I have any more? It's just in strength. I just need to make sure that I have all of them. Yes, we have one more agility hero. Is there any more? Probably missing someone. I don't think so. How did I forget Phantom Assassin? Man, I'm not supposed to forget Phantom Assassin. Yeah, what do we do about Phantom Assassin? And where is Phantom Assassin good? Phantom Assassin is good. Good one thing. You want to have Phantom Assassin added whenever you go to face Cryo Ape in Fiend Slayers. In Runes of Miracles. This one, the anti-healing, it is a debuff, and it can heal him, and every time he uses his active skill he will clear it, but it will also just help a lot. She can also stun. The poison is kind of annoying, but the stun is really helpful as well. But their only real main use is the fact that she can cause this preventing enemies from healing. Her damage is really bad. We don't really talk about her damage. This is the main use that she has, but she's really good at one thing, and that one thing is in Runes of Miracles, so I kind of have to put her into Runes of Miracles. But she's a normal hero, so you kind of have to use her there anyway. Is this all of the heroes that we have? I think so. Maybe these are the tier list that we have for right now. There's no more Aggie heroes right here, I believe. There's so many heroes, man. Who do we build out of all of these? Yeah, I think that's it. Anyway, now let's just go over it. We're starting at the top. This is Joan. She's an int hero. We're not going over int right now because the recording was over 2 hours long. Fuck this. This will be a pain in the ass to edit. Then we have endgame required. This is Kizumi, Franken, Mavis, and Luo. I believe that these are perfectly fitting into this line right here. They are completely game changing at the things that they do. Luo is better than Kizumi if you are close, if you are 6% of 100% XD because of the delaying actions and the fact that she has the pre-bonus. But Kazumi also has the speed, and speed is pretty much the most important buff in the entire game. Then we have Franken, who is just one of the most insane damage dealers that we've ever seen ever into this game. Completely at that point where he's basically the top three damage dealers. Then we have Mavis. At this point, she might even be the top three. At this point, she might even be top four. She is completely unkillable. To keeps your team alive and has some insane skills as well. A 5-star one can just completely compete with the leader and Frank and just what the hell is going on? That is just how insanely broken this hero is. Yeah, that's just how insanely broken this hero is. And then we have Nuada, Wolf, and Obing. Insane damage dealers. Really, really good if you build them up. Of these, I would prioritize Wolf because he is a normal hero. The other ones I would not prioritize over Franken. If you're going to be building anyone with Jade, these are the most important Jade heroes to build when it comes to agility heroes. If you have a lot of Jade, do not focus on any of these heroes right here before these three are built. And she only needs like 8-star to work properly. She doesn't even need a high star. 8, 9-star in order to just survive being hit using 2x spree, 2x vit, and then Luo is fine. You don't need to build her high. Building her high helps her survivability, makes her easier to use, but it doesn't really affect her at all. It really affects these two. Yeah, she needs 13 star, he needs 12 star, and more stars just to add stats on him. She just build her and just do whatever you want with her, and yeah, these are interchangeable spots. She sees more use than him, actually. I'm going to be putting her above. And then you have this. You don't need to build them high up, which if you do, that's nice. They don't need to be 15 or 14 or 13 star, but they work pretty well without it. She kind of is an exception because she works better the more attack she has. The more stars she has, the more attack she would be getting, just building her up properly. And him as well, but he's a anniversary hero, so that he is a pain in the ass to build without any dungeons. And then we have Rifleman, amazing A tier hero if you have Kisubi built, B tier hero if you don't. Lance Hunter, Prince of Persia, used to be endgame required, now they are in the niche. Mumbuchi, incredibly niche. Sobek, very, very good where you use him. He should be in the ruins, but he is better than that. This tier is better than ruins. And yeah, these are just incredibly niche heroes that is really good at some things, but really bad at other things. And only really sees use in some very specific use cases. Ruins, one of the better Agi damage dealers. but he's a pain in the ass to build, and you can build other heroes quicker. One of the better Aggie support heroes, one of the better Aggie tanks, and specifically for Cryot. Bonds, yeah, he has a really good bond. That's about it. And these are Pinnacle Stars, basically useless heroes that you will not be building other than to get them for Pinnacle Stars in order to unlock Pinnacle Tower and get more stars for that. These I have no clue where to place. They can be anywhere. And these I just absolutely hate. I just like these heroes so much. I don't care. I'm putting them there. I know that she's probably in here. But no, she's better off being in this tier. And Loki is probably at the top of the tier because I hate that man so much. I can put him at the bottom. Yeah. So that is my Aggie Heroes tier list for 2026. This is a 2 hour long recording. Have fun editing this, future me. In the next video, we will be talking about strength. You probably understand why I'm not doing strength right now. It's a 2 hour long recording. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will be seeing you soon enough with the strength tier list. And yeah, then we'll be going over the int. After that, we will be finishing off with int because that is the most interesting faction and the one that I will be roasting the hardest and hating on putting so many heroes into Pinnacle Stars that you have no idea. Yeah, that is the biggest problem that we have at int. Int is so strong that so many heroes just fall into that because they're not good enough to compete because you need to remove some heroes in order from you like four of the top 5 best heroes in the entire game pretty much can be used in int content. If you can use an int hero, you can use 4 of them, and who you really remove. The only choice you have to remove is your damage deal. Are you going to remove your damage dealer in order to put um, a shaman in there? No, you're not. So yeah, that is pretty difficult to have any sort of say with. But yeah, this is my tier list. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. This was a pretty difficult recording to take, 2 hours. So yeah, I'm pretty tired. I should go leave right now, I think. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.